Every man asks, "Who should I marry?" But very few ask, "Who will protect my soul when I'm weak?" In Islam, your wife is more than just a companion, she's your partner in the hereafter. And if you choose wrong, it won't just break your heart, it could break your deen. So before you say yes to the dress, the smile, or the chemistry, ask yourself, will she remind me of Allah when I forget myself? This is how to choose the right wife, the Islamic way. Step 1. Watch how she practices, not just what she posts. Before you marry a woman, don't just listen to what she says about Islam, watch how she lives it. Real deen is not in words, it's in habits. It's not what people claim about themselves. It's what they do when no one is watching. Some sisters may speak beautifully about Islam, may post Quranic quotes online, may attend events, and say all the right things in conversations. But that's not enough. Because when you live with someone, you see the side of them that isn't filtered. You see their routine, their truth, their weaknesses, their consistency. Ask yourself simple but honest questions. Does she pray on time, every day, without being reminded? Does she pray Fajr, or always miss it and excuse it? Does she wear hijab with sincerity, or is it more about fashion and social settings? When she's in a place where no one knows her, does she still carry herself with modesty? Is she comfortable being Islamic only in public, or is she the same in private? Islam isn't something you turn on and off depending on who's around. So don't just look for someone who is religious around other people. Look for the one who is consistent with Allah, even when she's alone. That's sincerity. Also, notice how she speaks about other people. If she always talks badly about others, gossips or mocks, that shows a heart that hasn't learned mercy. But if she speaks kindly, makes excuses for people, or chooses silence instead of backbiting, that's a woman who fears Allah. See how she reacts when she's upset or disappointed. Anyone can look patient when things are going well. But when she's angry, does she curse? Does she scream? Does she lose control? Or does she try to hold herself, even a little? If you see her make a mistake, how does she respond? Does she justify it, blame others? Or does she say, "May Allah forgive me," and move on with humility? Also, think about the things she posts online. Social media shows what people want the world to see, but even then, it can reveal a lot. If she's always chasing attention, showing parts of herself that should be private, trying to impress strangers, then ask yourself, is she looking for the gaze of people or the gaze of Allah? Even how she responds to comments matters. Does she flirt or joke too much with men? Is she defensive when corrected? Or does she stay firm, polite, and grounded? Another thing to look at is her goals. Does she have a desire to make Hajj? Does she fast beyond just Ramadan like Mondays and Thursdays? Does she talk about memorizing more Qur'an or learning Islamic knowledge? You're not looking for perfection. No one is perfect. But you are looking for direction. Is she trying to grow? Is she trying to get better? Because that's the woman your children will see every day. And whether she realizes it or not, she will teach them more with her actions than with her words. You want someone who will help your children fall in love with Islam, not just by telling them what to do, but by showing them how to live. That's why it's not about asking her, "Are you religious?" That's too vague. It's not about judging her either. It's about observing honestly and with sincerity. Is she someone who puts Allah first in the small things? Because if she does that, it's likely she'll do it in the big things too. And if you're unsure, make istikhara. Ask Allah, "Oh Allah, if this woman is good for my deen, my future, and my heart, bring her closer. And if not, take her away and give me better." Because no matter how smart you are, only Allah sees what's hidden. So the first thing you must do before anything else is watch, quietly, sincerely, patiently. Because the woman who lives her deen when no one is watching is the woman who will protect your home when no one else can. Step 2. Ask others what she's like and listen carefully. You can't know someone just by talking to them. People often show you their best side when they know you're watching. They smile, they speak kindly, they tell you what you want to hear. But marriage is not about just what you see, it's about what you don't see. And that's why you need to ask others about her. You need to investigate respectfully and wisely. Not because you're suspicious, but because you're serious. In Islam, this isn't called gossip. This isn't backbiting. This is protecting your deen, your future, your family. You're not asking to embarrass her. You're asking to understand who she really is when you're not around. Start by asking people who know her in different parts of her life. Sisters at the masjid, teachers from her Islamic school or university, people she volunteers with, community members who've known her family for years. These people have seen things you haven't. They've seen how she acts under pressure, how she handles leadership, how she reacts when she's uncomfortable. These things matter. If they say, she's respectful, she helps people, she's calm, she doesn't chase attention, that's a sign of maturity. That's a heart that has discipline. But if you hear, she's always in drama, she speaks badly about people, she can't take correction, these are signs to pause and reflect. Sometimes people will be vague. They'll say, I don't know, something feels off. Take that seriously. Even if they don't have proof, people's instinct, especially elders or sincere friends, often come from lived experience. But be careful. Don't listen to jealousy or petty opinions. You're not here to chase rumors. You're here to find truth. Also, ask about her family reputation. You're not just marrying her, you're entering into her environment. If her household is built on chaos, yelling, secrets, and emotional wounds, you need to ask yourself, has she healed from that, or is she still surviving it? Ask yourself, what kind of household am I about to step into? If her mother is bitter and always complaining about her husband, she may have taught her daughter the same behavior. If her father was controlling or absent, it may have shaped how she sees men. You're not judging their family, but you're trying to understand what shaped her. How does she speak about her family? With love and balancer, with hatred and blame? Does she respect her elders or roll her eyes at them? These little things are not so little, because one day you'll be the man in her life. And how she treats you might reflect how she treated the men in her family. If you know her siblings, ask around. How does she behave with her sisters, with her brothers? Does she help at home or leave everything to others? Is she known for her akhlaq, or is she always arguing? If you can't find someone who speaks well of her character, that's a sign. Not always proof, but it is a warning. And don't forget to look at how she treats people who can't give her anything. Does she serve her parents? Does she help the elderly at the masjid? Is she kind to kids who aren't her own? Real character is how someone treats those they're not trying to impress. Sometimes, the best people to ask are the quiet ones, the auntie who watches her in the masjid, the teacher who taught her in middle school, the old friend who's not in her life anymore but still speaks honestly. These people have nothing to gain by lying, and they often say the most meaningful things. But remember, you must ask with adab. Be respectful, be clear. Say, I'm not here to judge, I'm simply asking to learn. I'm considering marriage, and I want to do things the right way. Also remember, if someone gives you a warning, don't ignore it just because you like her. Your feelings are strong, but feelings are not facts. If 3 different people tell you the same concerning thing, pay attention. Allah may be protecting you through their words. But if the people who know her speak well of her sincerity, her modesty, her patience, then thank Allah, because that means her goodness is not just a performance, it's her way of life. A woman who is respected by her community, trusted by sisters, and honored by elders, that is a rare and beautiful thing. And that's not something you'll see in a first meeting. That's something that only time and reputation can prove. So take this step seriously. Ask with humility. Listen without bias. Make dua for Allah to guide you to the truth and give you clarity whether it's a yes or whether it's a respectful no. And know that if you choose based on character, not just charm, on values, not just beauty, Allah will place barakah in your decision, because you didn't chase a moment, you invested in a future. Step 3. Invite her family to the process. It's not just yours. Many brothers try to do everything by themselves when looking to get married. They think, it's my life. I know what I want. I'll figure it out on my own. But that mindset can be dangerous. Because marriage isn't just a personal decision, it's a life-changing one. And when your heart is involved, your judgment can become blurry without you even noticing. In Islam, we are taught to involve our families in important decisions, especially marriage. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because your family, especially the women in your life, have a way of seeing things you don't. Your mother, your sister, your aunt, they've watched you grow. They know your habits, your strengths, your emotional needs. And they can often sense when something feels off, even before you do. You might be focused on how she looks, how she talks, or how peaceful the conversations feel. But your mother might notice something different. She may say, she's polite, but I sense she's hiding something, or she's sweet, but too quiet for your personality. You need someone more expressive. You may not like hearing that, but it comes from a place of deep care and protection. Even if your family isn't religious, they still know you better than anyone else. And sometimes, even people who aren't deeply practicing still have good insight. Your sister might say, I've seen how you are with loud women. You don't have the patience. This one might exhaust you. These are not insults. These are warnings from love. And if you ignore them, you might end up learning the hard way when it's too late. Also remember, if you have older women in your family who have been married, especially those who went through divorce or lost a husband, talk to them. Ask what worked. Ask what they regret. Ask what they wish someone told them before they got married. A widow might tell you, I wish I had spent more time understanding my husband before saying yes. A divorced woman might say, I ignored the signs. He wasn't ready for marriage, and I thought I could change him. Sometimes they won't speak directly. They'll tell you what to look for in a wife, and in those words, they are telling you their own story. A woman might say, make sure she's not the type to put her career above her family. What she's really saying is, I did that, and it cost me my home. And now she's sharing her pain with you so you don't repeat it. You should also talk to the older women who are happily married. They'll tell you what worked for them, how they managed tough moments, what made their marriage strong, and you'll learn something valuable from each one. Don't underestimate the wisdom of the women in your life. Some of them are sensitive to energy, to tone, to body language. They can spot things you might ignore. If your mother or aunt says, she's very charming, but something doesn't feel sincere, pause. Don't brush it off. Involve your father too. Even if he doesn't talk much, his silence might mean a lot. Maybe he sees strength in her, or maybe he's unsure but doesn't want to interfere. Ask him directly. His perspective matters. He's a man. He knows what kind of woman will support you and what kind of woman might destroy your peace. And don't forget your mentors. If you have a trusted imam or teacher in the community, let them know. Tell them you're considering a sister for marriage. They may know her family. They may have seen her character in settings you haven't. Or they might have a network that can get more clarity for you. Don't underestimate their access and experience. Sometimes, an imam won't tell you everything directly, but he might tell your father, or he might tell you to proceed carefully, without saying much more. Pay attention to what he's not saying. Sometimes silence carries more meaning than speech. One big mistake brothers make is trying to do everything alone. They hide the conversation from their families. They say, "I'll introduce her later when I'm sure." But by that time, your emotions might already be too involved, and your family might spot something that now you're too attached to walk away from. When you keep your family in the dark, Shaitan starts to whisper. You start justifying things you would have never accepted before. You start bending your standards to make it work. And sometimes, you may feel like a hero. You think, "I'll help her. I'll save her from her toxic home. I'll give her a better life." But you're not a savior. You're a man looking for a wife, not a rescue mission. If she's looking to escape a broken family and you're her way out, be very careful. She may not truly love you. She may just be desperate for peace. And that desperation can turn into disappointment when real life begins. You don't want to marry someone who sees you as a solution to her pain. You want to marry someone who sees you as a partner in her journey to Allah. That's why your family's eyes are so important. They can help you see clearly when your emotions start to blur your vision. And when they raise a concern, don't argue, don't defend. Don't say, "You don't know her like I do." Listen, think, reflect, and make istikhara. Allah placed you in a family for a reason. He gave you people who care, so you don't walk into marriage blind. So take advantage of that gift. Involve them early. Let them observe. Let them feel. And let them advise. Because sometimes, the difference between a blessed marriage and a broken one is just one honest conversation you chose not to ignore. Step 4. Ask deep questions. Don't be shy. After you've observed her from a distance, asked about her reputation, and involved your family, there comes a point where you need to sit with her with the presence of her guardian and have a real, meaningful, halal conversation. Not a casual chat, not small talk. A conversation with intention, depth, and honesty. Too many brothers sit down and ask shallow questions. What are your hobbies? What's your favorite food? Do you like to travel? And while these may seem polite or friendly, they don't really tell you what you need to know. Because you're not looking for a friend, you're looking for the woman who will build a life with you, raise your children, and stand beside you through every hardship Allah tests you with. So when you speak with her, speak with purpose. Ask questions that open her heart, not just her mouth. Ask her about her values, her views on family, her dreams, her beliefs. Not just what she likes, but what she lives by. You can start with something light, but let it lead to something deeper. If she says she enjoys reading, ask her, "What book changed the way you think?" If she enjoys cooking, ask, "What does serving food mean to you?" These questions may sound simple, but they reveal her mindset, her upbringing, her heart. If you're someone who wants a traditional family, ask her directly, "What does a wife's role look like to you?" If you want to travel for work, ask, "Would you be open to moving if I had to work abroad?" Her answers will tell you what she values: comfort, flexibility, control, faith, or compromise. Ask her about raising children. Not just, "Do you want kids?" but, "How would you raise them to love Allah? How do you feel about sending them to Islamic school? Would you prefer to stay home with them or work full-time?" Don't assume anything, ask. Also talk about the harder situations. Say, "If I ever lost my job, how would you react? If I became emotionally distant during a stressful period, what would you do?" Her answers might surprise you. She might say, "I'd support you. I'd remind you of Allah. I'd hold space for you to breathe." Or she might say, "I'd be disappointed. I need constant communication." Neither answer is wrong, but it helps you know if you're compatible. Pay attention not just to what she says, but how she says it. Is she defensive, calm, nervous? Does she reflect before speaking, or answer quickly just to sound good? Watch her face, her tone, her eyes. Is she sincere? Is she grounded? Or is she trying to impress you? Also, ask her about her relationship with Allah. Not just, do you pray? But, what does Salah mean to you? Ask her, when you're going through hardship, what's the first thing you do? These answers matter, because one day you'll be in that hardship with her, and you need to know how she reacts under pain. Create real scenarios. Ask her, if your family and I had a conflict, how would you handle it? If I was sick for months, would you be patient? These aren't meant to scare her, they're meant to prepare both of you for the real life after the nikah. You'll be surprised how much is hidden beneath the surface. Some sisters have never thought about these things. That's okay. It's not a red flag, it just means no one ever encouraged her to reflect on it. But if she listens with humility and responds with thoughtfulness, that's a beautiful sign. It shows she's open to growth. And if she turns the question back to you, that's even better. It shows she's not just answering, she's engaging. She wants to understand you, not just be understood. That's how emotional safety is built. But if she avoids questions, changes the subject, or gives vague answers, take note. That could mean she's unsure or uncomfortable with honesty. Again, this isn't about being judgmental. It's about clarity, because marriage without clarity becomes confusion. Also, keep in mind, this is not an interview. Don't make her feel like she's being judged. Be gentle, smile, use adab. Say, I'm asking this because I want to understand who you are, not just what you do. Show her respect and expect the same from her. If she shares something personal, listen with compassion. Don't rush to respond. If she mentions trauma or pain or loss, listen without fixing. Just being present can say more than any words. You are not looking for perfection. You're looking for alignment. Not someone who's never been tested, but someone who came out of her tests with dignity, sincerity, and faith. At the end of the day, this conversation should feel like a window, not a performance. If you walk away feeling peaceful, like you learned something true about her, that's a good sign. But if you leave confused, unsure, or pretending you're okay with things you're not, that's your heart telling you to pause. And always, after any meeting like this, pray 2 rak'ahs, make istikhara, ask Allah, "Oh Allah, if this woman is good for my deen, my life, and my end, bring her closer to me. And if she is not, remove her from my path, and remove the love from my heart." You're not just talking to a potential wife, you're speaking to the future mother of your children, the woman whose character your daughter might copy, the woman who will either protect your peace or destroy it. So speak with truth, ask with courage, and don't settle for surface-level answers. Because this conversation is not about winning someone's heart, it's about protecting your own. Step 5. Have standards and be ready to walk away. There's one thing every Muslim man must remember when choosing a wife. Never lower your standards just because you're afraid of being alone. Loneliness is difficult, yes, but marrying someone who slowly takes you away from your values, from your vision, from your connection with Allah, that's far more painful in the long run. When you meet a woman who seems beautiful, kind, or emotionally attached to you early on, it can be tempting to overlook red flags. You might think, she'll change, or maybe I'm being too strict. But deep down, your heart feels uncomfortable. There's a voice inside you saying, this doesn't feel right. That voice is a mercy from Allah. Don't silence it. Being a real man in Islam doesn't mean forcing a marriage to work. It means having the strength to walk away when your principles are being challenged. If you know that you want a wife who wears hijab properly, who protects her modesty, who lives with sincerity, and she openly disagrees with that, do not convince yourself to compromise. Because what you compromise on now will become the source of conflict later. If she says things like, "I'll start covering properly after we get married," or "I'll pray more regularly once I have a husband," be cautious. Marriage doesn't fix spiritual weaknesses. It magnifies them. If she's not sincere about Allah before you, she won't become sincere just because you enter her life. And this goes both ways. She may be asking herself the same about you. That's why honesty is critical. You must speak the truth about what you expect and how you intend to lead your household. Don't say things to please her. Say what is true, even if it costs you her approval. If she asks, "Would you be okay if I didn't want children?" and deep down you want a big family, don't lie just to move forward. Say it kindly but clearly. "I value children and raising a family. That's part of my vision." If she says, "I want to keep my career no matter what," and you believe in the wife staying at home during early motherhood, say it. Don't hide your values out of fear, because when you lie at the beginning, you build a foundation on falsehood. And no matter how strong the feelings are, that foundation will crack. It's not fair to her, and it's not fair to you. Being honest doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you trustworthy. Even if she disagrees with you, she'll respect you for being clear. Her father will respect you, her family will respect you. And most importantly, Allah will honor you for standing by your principles. Sometimes you'll meet a woman who seems perfect, but your values simply don't match. She may be a good Muslim, you may be a good man, but you're not a good match. That's not a failure. That's Allah saving you from years of misalignment and struggle. Say, "Alhamdulillah," thank her for her time, and walk away with peace. Other times, you may meet a woman who becomes emotionally attached quickly. She might begin messaging you after a single meeting. She may say things like, "I just feel safe with you," or "I really want to get out of my house. My family is too controlling." Be careful. This could be a sign that she's rushing into marriage, not out of love, but out of escape. When that happens, you must respond with maturity. You can say, "I understand you're struggling, but I want to go through this in a way that pleases Allah. I need to take my time, involve my family, and seek clarity. I don't want to mislead you or hurt you later." That kind of response protects her dignity and yours. And if she continues messaging you privately, trying to create an emotional bond before anything is official, you must set a boundary. Because if you allow a woman to cross lines before marriage, she will think those lines can be crossed after marriage too. You are teaching her how to treat you. Set the tone from day one. Some sisters, out of pain or confusion, may start oversharing, telling you private family problems, childhood trauma, personal secrets, all before any serious commitment. And you, as a man, may feel the urge to comfort her, to fix it, to save her. But know this, if you marry someone just because you feel sorry for them, you are entering a marriage driven by guilt, not love. That's dangerous. Sympathy is not the same as compatibility. If you recognize early on that this sister is not ready, not spiritually, emotionally, or mentally, then the most honorable thing you can do is walk away respectfully, not with judgment, but with sincerity. You can say, "I don't believe we're compatible. I would rather step away now than hurt you later." And if she asks why, be gentle. Say, "I see things differently. I have certain expectations for how I want my home to be, and I don't want to disappoint you or myself. I believe it's better to part ways now with dignity." That kind of honesty is rare, but it is respected by Allah. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us that the most blessed marriage is the one with the most barakah, not the most followers, not the fanciest wedding, not the most beautiful faces. Barakah comes from sincerity, clarity, and truth. So, if you have standards, hold them with confidence. If you have values, express them with adab. If you have a vision, don't blur it just to please someone else. Because the right woman will respect your boundaries. She won't make you feel guilty for wanting to protect your deen. She will match your energy, your purpose, and your fear of Allah. And if she doesn't, let her go. And trust that what Allah has written for you will never miss you. You're not just choosing a wife for today. You're choosing the mother of your children, the woman who will be beside you when you're sick, when you're stressed, when you're standing before Allah together in the hereafter. So don't choose in haste. Don't choose in fear. Choose with taqwa. Choose with dua. Choose with clarity. And trust that Allah sees your efforts, and He will send you someone who doesn't just complete your life but strengthens your soul.